Childhood and play are experiences which connect us all. Some aspects of both, however, are specific to their time and place. For the ancient Greek world, pottery offers information about children and attitudes towards childhood. In this video, we'll look at what this vase shows about early childhood in ancient Greece, and we'll explore the development of this vase scene into the animation, the Rattle. The vase was created in Athens, in Greece, in around 440 to 430 BCE. It's a small jug with space for a decoration on the front and a handle on the back. The jug has been decorated in the red figure style. That means that the vase was made from a reddy orange clay and then covered in a black slip. Some areas of clay were left exposed to create a frame and space for the figures, which show through the black in that striking reddy orange. Details have been added in black slip to complete the image. Different dilutions create varied effects. There's a spot of white slip on there too. What can we see? The central image is of a young child. The fact that an image has been made specifically of a child demonstrates a social interest in children. That suggests consciousness of them as a distinct type of person, different from adults and from older children. The things around the child in this scene are things from a child's world. They have been seated on a purpose-built high chair potty. Real-life examples of this type of chair have been found, so we know something more of what they were like. They were ceramic, that is, made from clay. That would make them solid and easy to clean. There's a hole at the front for the child's legs to come through. The vase painter has shown the child's legs at different heights, which creates the impression of him waggling them. The chair gives support for the child's lower back, and there's a hole in the seat into a chamber below to collect waste. These chairs would be used when a child was just old enough to support themselves in a sitting position, but before they were toilet trained and able to balance properly. On the floor in front of the child is a small jug. It's similar to the jug that the image is on. Jugs would be used in all sorts of aspects of a child's day-to-day life. Miniature jugs are often decorated with images of children. They were given to young children at the Anthesteria festival. That was held in honour of Dionysus, when the new wine would be opened and tasted. So, as well as having a practical aspect, the image of the jug may be said to represent a child's increasing social behaviours. They would witness ritual activities within the home, where pouring liquid offerings, libations, would be a frequent activity. As they grew older, they would see and participate in rituals of this sort at more and more public events. On the other side of the image is a toy, a trundle wheel. A wheel on a stick like this was known to the Greeks as a hamaxis. We'll see more of that toy later. More importantly, the child is holding a rattle. Having it in their hand gives it a special prominence. Rattles teach young children cause and effect. They gradually realise that they are causing the rattling sound through their movements. This helps them begin to make sense of the world and their place in it. As children get older, rattles can bring them on to something more. They can learn control and perform increasingly complex rhythms. In the rattle animation, we hear the child moving through this process, progressing from random shaking to a more complex, controlled pattern. For philosophers such as Pythagoras and his circle, the mastery of rattle and rhythm was part of the structuring of a young child's mind. This educational play would support positive growth and was an element of the child becoming fully human. Their movements would cease being random and animalistic. Their actions would be considered and purposeful as they became a more socialized being. As the child grew older, Their thinking would benefit from this early training in order and control. It would help them become a more rational adult. Children would also need their sense of rhythm for the great variety of music, singing and dance that they would experience on all manner of occasions throughout their lives. The child we see does not act alone. When in the animation he drops the rattle, an adult appears to help him. The figure who appears to help him was taken from a vase made in Athens in the same period as the jug. On that vase she appeared as the winged goddess Nike. To prepare her for the rattle, her wings were removed to make her mortal. Nike wore a wreath on her head, typical of a festival or other special occasion. That was removed for the more day-to-day setting of the rattle. Nike's dress was rather elaborate. She is a goddess. The dress becomes plainer at the front and has shoulder support. However, it still hangs in folds with a nipped-in waist. The earring and the bracelets on Nike's wrists were also removed. The woman could be interpreted as the child's mother, although many Greek households would employ women of lower status to do childcare, such as wet nurses and nannies. Some households would hold women enslaved for the same purpose. However you prefer to interpret her, you can see that the woman is responsive to the child's needs and attempts to communicate, nurturing their development. After a while, the child tires of the rattle and his attention is captured by the trundle wheel. The adult lifts him so he can progress to another stage of play. Once he is out of the high chair, we see that the child has a string of charms tied around his torso. These were often given to young children for their protection, and we see them frequently in vase scenes of infancy. Diseases and other ailments meant that death in early childhood was a very real risk. Supernatural forces were thought to play a part in what did or did not afflict a child. As such, amulets and charms intended to put off malign forces and keep a young one safe were a welcome reassurance to their family. Later on, the Roman Pliny the Elder would write that amulets also reduce a child's own fears and anxieties. The woman kneels down to the child's level to support him. We see him move off with growing confidence under her watchful eye. He can toddle now and control the toy wheel. He has now mastered a new challenge. With the help of toys, play, and care, he is on his way to being a more active member of society.